It's as strong as a spell. I'll never tell. Yeah, I like you, that's for sure.
Hi guys, welcome back to Exmo Lex. So I guess you probably see it in the title. This video is me coming out as bi. This is something that I've thought about talking about publicly for a long time, but I've honestly been really scared too. Now this is something that like my close friends have already known about for a long time. I just haven't talked about it on my YouTube channel. There's a lot of reasons why I've been scared to talk about it publicly, most of them having to do with the reaction of other people. I know there will be people who say things like, well, you're in a straight relationship, so why does it matter if you're bi? Or even people that think that because I'm in a straight relationship that I can't be bi. And yeah, my husband and I have been together for 10 years, and for most of that, I didn't know that I was bisexual. And yeah, I'm in a very committed, happy, straight relationship. I don't see that changing at all, and me being bi doesn't change my relationship at all. But just because I'm in a straight relationship doesn't mean that I'm not bisexual. And another reason is that a lot of people assume that if you're bisexual, you're more likely to cheat on your partner, which is obviously not true, but it's just another thing that felt like people would use as hate against me. And obviously I get a lot of hate comments, like I'm very used to them. I get a lot of hate comments from Mormons and from Christians because I'm an atheist. And I get hate comments and hate from people that I know in real life as well. And this felt like just one more thing that if I was public with it, people would use it as ammunition to attack me and to say mean things about me and to me. One of the reasons that I've been comfortable enough to tell my friends about it is because I know that they don't care and they love me anyway. And that's a lot different than saying something like this on the internet where people can hide behind a keyboard and say really rude things. And so it's been difficult for me to decide that I actually want to do this. But that leads me to why I've decided to talk about it. If you follow my channel, if you know my story, if you know a lot about Mormonism, you know that I grew up in the Mormon church. And in the Mormon church, it's not okay to be gay or bisexual. Something I wanted to talk about in this video is how I figured out that I am bi, because I've been attracted to men my whole life and I've known it for like as long as I can remember. And so I never really got to explore this other side of myself until, just the past couple of years. When I was a member of the Mormon church, I took modesty really, really seriously. I mean, if you've watched my videos about the way the Mormon church treats women, I'll leave a link in the description to videos I've done about it in the past, but the church historically for a long time has been really, really serious about modesty. I heard countless lessons about modesty at church. I always grew up feeling like I had to hide my body and that it was shameful if I didn't. In the Mormon church, you're not allowed to show your shoulders, cleavage, and your shorts are supposed to go to your knees. And so there's a lot of body that is being hidden. Church leaders have said a lot of really misogynistic things about women's bodies, and I've done videos about it. I'll leave a link in the description. But I mean, they've said things like, if you don't dress modestly, you're becoming pornography to men. And there was even a church leader who talked about how women's knees and shoulder blades are ugly and they need to be covered up. And I even had a bishop speak to me more than once when I was a teenager about covering up more of my body when I came to church because maybe there was a little bit of cleavage showing in my dress. And so I definitely grew up from a very young age being really concerned about women needing to cover their bodies. And this didn't just apply to myself, but also to other women around me, or even pretend women. If you know a lot about my story, if you've seen like my Mormon stories, if you've watched a lot of my videos, you might know that I used to edit album covers on my iPod to cover up women if their bodies were immodest. We had card games that had cartoons where I used a Sharpie to cover up, any cleavage that was showing, things like that. I took it really seriously because it was ingrained in me from a young age that women need to cover themselves. So as young as like 5, 6 years old, I remember watching like The Little Mermaid, Disney's The Little Mermaid, and Ariel just had like a shell bra. And instead of just like enjoying that for what it was, I always had this voice in the back of my head thinking like, wow, it's too bad that Ariel is sinning because she's showing so much of her body. That is something that I feel like really affected the way that I viewed myself and the way I viewed other women. I think it damaged me to be perfectly honest with you, I really feel like that damaged me, and it made me view myself and other women with a really damaged viewpoint. The bodies of women were a problem. And so even as I, you know, got older, got married, when I would see billboards with immodest women or TV or movies that had immodest women, it was like majorly triggering for me, to the point where I would like look away. And I feel like now, as I've gotten older, as I left the church and was able to figure out that I had attraction to women, I started to understand more why, when I was younger, when I was still a member of the church, seeing images like that and having such like a visceral reaction to them, like I'm like starting to understand, okay, one of the reasons for me that this was so like triggering to see and why I was so like upset about it was because deep down I felt attraction to that. And it's something that it's taken me years to figure out how to undo. And when people talk about like the church not harming people, I really have to bring it back to the fact that it's harmed me in a lot of ways, and this is just one of them. And one of them that I've only recently, within the past like 1 to 2 years, been able to fully understand. But the reality is, I am attracted to women, and the church, over the course of my life, from a very young age, made me feel as though women's bodies were inherently sexual and inherently sinful if they were to, you know, show their bodies at all. I didn't mean to get emotional in this video. It's just like, I still haven't talked about all of these feelings that much, and I knew that when I sat down to film today's video that rather than like following an outline the way I normally would, I just wanted to say what I was feeling. Okay, I want to calm down a little bit because I want to tell you guys more about how I really started figuring out that I was attracted to women. And it shouldn't be a sad story. So as you guys know, I'm in a very happy, committed, straight relationship, and I hadn't explored that part of myself at all. And then you guys all encouraged me to get a TikTok. And I know it's gonna sound like so cliche and silly because there's a lot of TikTok jokes about, you know, TikTok turning women into lesbians. I had seen some of that, but as I was on TikTok and I started seeing a lot of videos also about like, you know, people would make these videos that were just really meant to be silly and fun, but they would say things like what your favorite movie character says about you, or what the type of glasses you wear says about you, or your favorite drink at Starbucks, like all those kinds of things. And I would watch them, and I started noticing a pattern really early on. Every single time I watched one of those videos and I was waiting for like my thing, they'd be like, you're bisexual. And that made me laugh because like, well, I'm not. And I'm not saying that like I believe those things like really mean that you're bisexual. It just was the first time that I ever like, it happened so many times that I finally like questioned a little bit and realized like, you know what, I'm seeing like a lot of really beautiful women on my my timeline here. And that's when I started to think about it more. I didn't think that I am bisexual because, you know, these random little things make me bisexual, but it did make me think like, what if I am though? Like, what if I was? I've never ever considered that before. And so it was kind of from there where I just let myself like question and let myself think about it in a way that I never had before. And over the next several months to a year, I let myself question that. It was after like a lot of introspection and a lot of thinking about it, I finally reached the point where I realized that yes, I actually am attracted to women the same that I'm attracted to men. And it's something that I've never even considered or, you know, explored that part of myself at all until I was kind of able to break away from the church's heteronormative viewpoints. And also, like I said, it has made me realize a lot of how damaging the church was for me in the way that I viewed women and the way that I viewed women's bodies. So yeah, that leads us to where we are today, whereas I'm still in a very committed, very happy, straight relationship with my husband. We've been married for 9.5 years. We've been in a relationship for 10 years. And, you know, that's not gonna change. I'm still very much in love with my husband, and I'm very, very happy with where I'm at in life. But I also feel like I'm so much happier knowing that this is a part of me. This is a part of who I am. And one of the reasons that I wanted to speak about it publicly is because if anybody else has struggled with these sorts of things, I want to know about it. If there's anybody else who grew up as a woman in the church and feels like their opinions and views about women were affected by the church's teachings, I want to know about it, because I had never really heard anybody talk about any of this before, and it was just something that was going on in my head, and I had to figure it out for myself. So if any of you felt this way, I would love if you left a comment letting me know about it, because it's been difficult and strange to figure this all out. And I also feel like, as hard as it's been for me to be okay with being public about this, there must be other people who have struggled with it too. I just want to add my voice as an ex-Mormon who is bisexual, and come out and be proud of it and be public about it, so that, you know, even if it helps one other person in the same situation to, you know, accept themselves and love themselves for who they are, then it'd be worth it for me to talk about it. If this helps anybody, then I'm glad. Okay, well, this ended up being a lot more emotional than I was planning on, but I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope that it helps somebody out there. And like I said, if anybody felt some of the same feelings and they feel comfortable with sharing, I would love if you guys left a comment letting me know. And thank you guys so much for watching, and special thank you to my patrons for supporting the channel. You guys are the best. Extra special thank you to AA, Craig Call, Doug Davis, Mormonland, The Guiltiest Place on Earth, Jason Wilkins, Noble Monster Comics, Tans, and the Exmo Candle Company for supporting at the Demon tier on my Patreon. If you guys would like to support the channel, there are links to do so in the description below, as well as links to all my other social media if you want to see more content. Thank you so much for being here. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye!
Never revealing no secrets you're keeping. These promises strong as a spell. I'll never tell. Yeah, I like you, that's for sure.